What's up, fish keepers? Again, welcome to Royal Fish Aquatic Wednesday night fish talk. And tonight we got Rob from Rob 93 Aquatics. How you doing tonight?
What's up, man? What's up? Appreciate the opportunity, man. It was pretty awesome to get that message this morning. It's like, hey, dude, need you on the live stream. I'm like, what?
Yeah, man, because my whole thing with this whole live stream is I want to open up my platform to everybody else. And what I want to do is pretty much, just an interview series just for, something to have in I call this our archives because, we are documenting on YouTube our archives and everything of what we do as fish keepers. So it's like I would like to interview everybody out there that's doing videos one by one. I'm just going down trying to find everybody's set up times with everybody, and every Wednesday find a different person, and we can not get to know who you are.
Yeah, that's dope. That's real dope. Real dope.
So where you at right now? Where you from?
Actually, I was born in Arkansas, raised in Indiana, but not knowing that Indiana has major hitters with fish suppliers or just in the fish hobby in general. I did not know. With having aquatic arts and LRB and all these people, I'm like, oh man, I did not know this is all happening in my state. And then all of a sudden I get on YouTube and I meet you. I meet all these people who are like in the hobby, knee deep. Snap, this is like really, really happening. This is real. This is a family thing. So, like, growing up in Indiana, not knowing we had so many fish tubers or fish keepers, and all of a sudden seeing one by one, a whole bunch of people saying, "Oh, you keep fish? Like, oh, you gotta check this store out, or you gotta check this store." And I'm like, "Oh man, hey, Indiana keepers," So it's pretty refreshing to see some new fish keepers in the state.
Yeah, we got a couple people in. Big Tank Hank, how you doing? Lady P, how you guys doing? We doing good. Ozzy Octane, how's it going, Ozzy?
What up, Ozzy?
Now that's pretty cool how you went with that, because that's how when I got into the hobby, I didn't know how deep the hobby was. I didn't know about fish clubs and swap meets and these conventions and how deep the whole hobby was. And yeah, it was fun when you first get into it. You're like, wow, man. So I'm not the only crazy person that likes fish. Okay, there's other crazy people in this world that like fish.
It's dope, man. It's really dope.
Now, how long you been doing this? How long you been breeding fish, and how long you been just keeping fish?
Technically, I would say 3 years of fully just actually having tanks this much. I started with one tank when I was younger. Of course, everyone started with the tank younger. But beta when I was in high school, every other year I would have to get a new one. Got it from a store at Myers or those are Myers. If those don't know, that's the same difference as a Walmart. They have the same thing. But they were all nice about a year. And then my dad did have convicts back in the day, convicts and Oscars, American staples. Like, come on, everybody had to start with one of those. Right? And so as me growing up, and then Lane had a goldfish tank, and I walked in one day, and the fish were just. The whole thing was surrounded in algae. The water wasn't even running because the algae was built up on it. The goldfish were like, I don't know what was going on. So I looked up a couple videos, started following some people, started doing water changes, and I was like, I like this. So one tank went to 20 tanks when I got an Oscar.
Yeah, everybody had an Oscar. Ozzy says, Rob 93, you almost at 4 years now. We got Tiffany, Ozzy, everybody in the house.
So now I'm almost at 4 years now. It's really crazy to think, but I'm almost at 4 years now.
Now, since you got into the hobby so deep, do you belong to any clubs?
Actually, yes. The CCAC, which is the Circle City Aquarium Club here at Indianapolis, Indiana. Because like I said, there's a lot of Indiana clubs. A buddy of mine, Maple Street Aquatics, they have their own a couple hours, 3 or 4 hours, or 2 or 3 hours away from us, northern Indiana. They have their own fish club there, so there's many fish clubs. You know, just like a football team, like Florida, Texas, all of them have a lot of teams of football. But there's a lot of, I know there's a lot of fish clubs there as well. You know, I guarantee you, you know, there are people who are literally giving out flyers. Fish club meeting tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, so knowing that there's so many fish club meetings, like where I could go up there and pay a membership and be a member of them, and not even one time because I went to just experience. I'm with that because I'm a part of that, and I'm also giving back to the hobby. That is also going to get back to my buddy because that's his club. He's going to end up going on whatever excursions they're going to do or whatever free samples they're giving at the door prizes that most, you know, fish club meetings have. I mean, but that's pretty much the only a part of, I may say, but that's about it. So.
Now, you said you keep convicts. What else do you have in your fish room?
Man, I got miscellaneous types of things. I got anything where from white cloud minnows, dailies, polar blue cichlids. A lot of people are real purists. They don't like hybrids. They don't like a lot of that. I kind of do. I kind of embrace it a little bit. I mean, me and Aqua, and that's kind of how me and Aqua always knew that we had the same taste in fish because we always like odd fish. Everybody says the oddball fish. So, you know, I kind of like hybrids. So that polar blue stole my heart, you know. But like you said, convicts are always, I've had those. I have had African cichlids now. 32 of them, and I'm down to one. I have one pet African cichlid.
And you keep saltwater, right?
I did have saltwater at one point in time. My last build at my first house, when I moved, I knew inside my mind and heart that I knew I wasn't going to be able to establish a saltwater tank to be able to transport that other one, because I know with it being a 29-gallon, I couldn't establish a 29-gallon saltwater tank for only one fish, minding the fact that it had ick. Because I just got into saltwater, the fish had ick, and I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, what do I know I add salt to the water for freshwater fish if they have ick. What do I add to salt water that already has salt in it? You know? But not knowing, you can reverse it and dip them in fresh water for a little bit and toss them back into the salt water. Not knowing all of this going into it, I just said it's better off for me to return it back to the LFS or the local fish store that I went at that point in time. I forgot which one. But it was better off for me to transport it back and just in the saltwater tour for a little bit until I get an established house where I want to stay for a little bit. So yeah, I did love saltwater though. I did love saltwater.
Oh yeah, I never played with saltwater and everything.
For you to be a foreigner, you should definitely dab a little bit of saltiness. Just at least a tank for yourself. Just a little tank for yourself.
You know, I mean, some of them fish look cool, but for me, freshwater gets me. I mean, I'm into live bears, you know what I mean, and guppies and swordtails, and you know, I have mollies and I got my platies and angels, you know, and you know, I do some tetras. But you know, messing with angels to me is like the cream of the crop. Like I'm happy, you know, doing angels and doing some live bears. It's like I like looking at saltwater stuff. Me getting into coral, like I barely even gotten into my own plants, you know, like I only done a few little plants myself. I don't even mess with the plants.
That's true.
That much.
That is true. That is true.
You know, that's a whole nother science. I'm doing coral, doing plants and everything. Like I give it up to people.
Get into the corals in particular, or any of that, or the rocks. I just more because you know every fish keeper will either build the fish tank around the fish or the plants. But anyway, though, because some doctors' offices they need colorful fish that are really they don't care for a real background or anything. They need just colorful fish. Us people are us followers of all kinds of hobbyists. We all want certain things that we want for a fish. Like we want some to be dull. We want colorful fish. We want them to aggressive. They're more this and that and the other. And then some people just love plants. I can't even keep duckweed in my thing. I can't even keep duckweed. So for those who literally love plants, where they're speaking Latin terms of plants, that's when you know they're into plants. Me, I can barely keep Java moss, okay? Okay? Like, I'm being... So I completely understand.
I had a container outside, a huge container outside that I left out there for about a year. And I must have left a piece of guppy grass in there. After like about a year, I look, the whole thing is full of guppy grass. And I'm like, when I don't try, it grows. When I put my effort into it, it don't grow. So it's like, why? You know, it's so, I don't get it. Like, my hands are full enough to be dealing with the plants, bro. Now, what's your dream fish? Like, what's the fish that you haven't gotten that you be like, that's my last fish. That's my main fish. That's my dream fish. You know, your fish.
Well, I kind of said it earlier at my live stream. I said any person is there's some laws to things that we want to do. So certain fish we would like to keep, we can't keep.
Mm-hmm.
So if I want a rainbow snakehead that doesn't get any bigger than 12 inches, and I'm able to keep at least one of them in my tank, that is my dream fish. But a fish that's illegal. So if I was to say I have one, I do. I would be that guy would be. I would be the good criminal. I would be the good record, but I would not show that I have it. Okay, I would have it, but I'm not showing it. All right. Now there's the people who are going to incriminate themselves and go, "Yeah, I got a snake head." Well, what? And then they show it. Nah, not me. I don't say that I have it, but like I said, a snake head would be the ultimate dream fish because we can't keep it. Is the whole thing. I mean, that's probably the number one answer for everyone, especially if it's an arowana, a super red arowana. Some of these people will drool to have one.
That's up there in my list. Arowana. That's up there in my list. Oh yeah.
See?
Oh yeah.
Had it on the nose,
man. You keep any live bears?
I do keep some live bears. I actually do have Limia perugiae. I do have. I just got a pregnant Endler guppy by mistake because I went to actually get sparkling brownies, and they're in the same one. They're in the same tank. They're about the same, yay big. They're all about the same big. And I was supposed to get 4 sparkling brownies and end up with 3 sparkling brownies and a pregnant Endler female. So I'm gonna have Endler females, I guess, or probably give. So I guess I'll have more guppies. But other than that, not really that many live bears. Some of the cichlids that breed so much, you would think they're live bears because they have so many fries so fast. You would think they're live bears, but they lay eggs. You know what I mean? But other than that, I do want to get some different types of live bears that a lot of people don't have in their tanks. So if you could give me some on any that you might be looking for, because I know you like some swordtail. You just said you love swordtail, so.
Oh yeah, I got few different lines of swordtails here and everything. Now let's go to the comments real quick. Zach says that arapaima will be his dream fish.
Actually, that is a good one too. That is definitely a good one as well. Like arapaimas is beautiful.
We got Funk in the house. Aqua Funk, what's up?
Oh, what's up, bro?
Lady J say hybrids are very interesting. Yeah, they are.
That they are.
You know, flower horns. I like the flower horn type of.
Yeah, I got a flower horn myself. Yep, I love my flower horn.
What the heck? The Big Tank Hand says Neo Heritangia Elegance.
Are those his? I think he just has some nice new live bears. Big Tank Hank got some nice libraries all over the place. Got some nice betas. There's a lot of people that I'm sitting here looking at getting some rare live bears, and I'm like, man, I need to get my hands on some of those. I did have some good deeds. End up getting rid of those. They were nice, but after a while, I had to think of the space with them because the deeds do get a decent amount of size. They do get very aggressive during the times of feeding and then also mating. So any of the males with male, you're gonna have to have a bigger tank, in my opinion, at least a 55 to get a big colony going. Nice water changes, and as well get your male nice and ready and fed up because he's always going to be trying to breed so much. He's going to lose weight, in my opinion. Like he literally loses so much weight. And I'm like, what is going on with my fish? I had to take him out and feed him and stop letting him literally mess with all of these females because all he wanted to do was to breed. When I'm feeding him, he's sitting there. I'm like, get away from them. Feed yourself. You are trying to die. You're trying to kill yourself. Eat. Yeah. That's one problem I have with some of these live bears, man.
Oh yeah, some of these live bears, man, it's crazy. I got a pair that's kind of that way. I just got some fire and ice, and that I got a male in there. All he does is chase the female all day and night. It's like, wow, man. He got the life right now.
You have no idea.
Now up there, have you ever experimented with outside containers, doing fish outside?
I did at one point in time, and not knowing if it was the cats, the neighborhood cats that we discovered. We don't know if it's the raccoons around here. When it was outside Indiana, no. You don't know what you're doing, don't do it. But trial and error, because I always say on my YouTube channel, this is not a how-to, this is not a DIY, this is a try. Like, I'm not labeling this. This is a try for me. Like, if it happens, it happens. If it don't, if I can do it, you can do it. So, like, I did it. It sucked for me. Maybe it will be better for them, better for any of the viewers. But sometimes my stuff does not work.
You should try to do some guppies out there, man, or something like that. Do some
with our temperatures. We have a good season for about 4 to 6 months, top 6 months.
Yeah,
4 to 6 months. But then they're not producing that many fry. They're not growing rapidly. Like y'all have that all year round where you can keep them in there. You can just pull them, walking out the next day, drinking your coffee. You know, me, I gotta put on a coat. I gotta go outside, warm up the car. I gotta walk in. No, you know, I can't do all that. Then I gotta bring them in the house, and then I'll empty a tank because that's what normally what people do. They'll empty a tank, then they'll put something in that tank, but not realize that they have to put those fish that are outside back in that tank, and now you have nowhere to put them. So like that's what I would run myself. So outside tubbing's not for me, I don't think.
Yeah, I like doing outside tanks. You know, it's fun doing them out there, bro. The color that your fish will get, you get some nice colors in your fish when you start breeding them
up. I mean, you can all those nice colorful fish,
but you can still do it, man. You can still do it. You can do it for like 3-4 months. Bring them right back in.
Is there a promo code for using Royal Fish Aquatics right now? Because hey, the promo code's Bright Fish. Bright Fish, okay? 90.
Bright Fish.
Promo code.
Bright Fish. That's how you got to do them, bro. Now, since I know you know Funk for a while, you like the second half of the Fish Mob and everything. How you and Funk ended up meeting up?
Dude, actually just watching people random on YouTube. Miss Deb Tim was one of the first few people I started watching. And she actually gave me a shout out. And I went from like 20 to like 80 subscribers in one night. Like blew my mind. Like I started growing. I literally had 1,000 subscribers in my first year of YouTube. Like me and a whole bunch of people when I started like, whoa. bro, this is crazy. So like for those who have ever helped me out and has always given me uplifting in this community, I've always given my kudos to them. So her and a few other people like that, Bruxy, a lot of people don't know, actually it gave me a start that a lot of people have never like got. So once she gave me a shout out, I actually heard a shout out from him because she gave a shout out to him first. So then once I started following him and Fish Keeping Riley were having a debate on bare bottom tanks and substrate, which was better. And I was loving the series, and I was actually I was a fan of Aqua before a friend, like a fan before a friend. Like a lot of my relationships started as a fan before a friend. And literally, I was like, dude, this is crazy to talk to. And he was the first person I talked to outside of YouTube. And I'm just like, yo, this is crazy to think like I'm talking to someone I'm actually really a fan of the work. He goes, yo, I feel the same way. It's cool to actually meet someone that has the same taste of fish and same style, and trying to have dialogue and also have all kinds of conversations when it comes to certain things about it. And just learning. And he goes like, yo, you gotta collab on something. And it was then, bro, it's been almost 3 years now. Like, this dude could call me. Literally, he could call me in the night. I'm like, what's up? I knew you'd be. And then sometimes I'll be like, man, I'm not doing something. I'm like, dude, what is wrong with you? Every time I'm trying to do something, you call me. Like, bro. It's like he's like literally my family now. So like that's what YouTube or fish keeping has done, is made friends and family with everybody.
Oh yeah, YouTube has opened up, for a lot of people, whatever their interest is, they get to focus on and watch other channels, and that it has opened up a lot of friendships and everything through different people and everything. It's crazy when you find people they actually watch your channel and be like, yeah, I saw that. Oh, for real? Okay, that's cool. That's what's up. Now, how many tanks you got there?
I got 1920 in here, and then I got another one in the living room. So, and I just turned into a maniac for air and more balance in the circulation of the central system, because I did have so many air pumps that just took up too much energy. It was so loud, and
I just ran through that.
Yeah, you know. So
yeah,
now I'm trying to add about 20 or 30 more tanks, and my lady's like, nope.
Yeah, like you can see my piping and everything. This is recently put in, bro, and it's like,
look, it's still pumping. That's nothing. That's nothing.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I know. I feel your pain with that, because I had tons of little pumps, tons of them everywhere, and then you run in wires.
Look, you see that?
It up.
You see that? That's how strong it is. Okay.
Oh yeah.
If y'all didn't see Corey from Aquarium Co-op, I hate doing name drops. He said you can see how much air you put into it without even turning it on, and this is how much it is. For those who don't have a Jimco or want a piston pump, you see why.
Oh yeah. Mine's a Jimco piston pump, and bro, it runs. And I'm using, what is it? I think that's 2-inch pipe, PVC pipe.
Ooh, you really like it.
And it's like holding pressure on that like it's nothing. Everybody says you got to get a 1 inch and a quarter and everything, and I ended up getting what I found on the side of the road. Because that's my whole thing.
I got 1 inch, so you sweet on. Like, I wouldn't go too far, but like you said, 2 inches is fine, bro.
Oh yeah, and piping ain't nothing. You find it anywhere, and you just put it up, and yeah.
And you did it by yourself, did you not?
Yeah. Yep.
That's what I said. It's real easy. So for those, like I said, those I tried. If I could do it, you could do it. I mean, I had a little hiccup in there. It blew out. Like I had to reset the
Yep.
area.
Yep.
Had to wait. Had to wait for a little bit. Like had to, do a whole bunch of things. So yeah, you understand, man.
Oh yeah. I ended up putting all my pipe up without drilling holes on them, and then I turned it on. I got it going. I drilled the first hole. Air just flattened him right in my face. I was like, okay, I gotta turn this off. Then I did the whole line. Yeah, you learn. You just gotta do it yourself, man. Now, we're kind of on the topic I was gonna ask you too. What's your funniest story you have that has happened to you doing fish keeping?
Funniest story that has happened to me during fish keeping. That I've been calling a few of my fish men names.
You named the fish.
Yeah, I name my fish and they're always the wrong gender. Like I had Apollo, and one time when Aqua and old friend of ours used to do a live stream, I came in, turned on the lights, and all of a sudden eggs are on the bottom. I'm like, well, you're Apollo now. You're not even Apollo. And then I get an Oscar, and I didn't know. Be grown into knowing Oscars. They don't mature until they're about 1 or 2, if not into older. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then I have my Oscar at a 55 at a level where they're always up. I can see. I don't have to take them out the water to see if they're flapping or not. So I'm looking. I'm like, you're a girl too. I'm getting girl fish and I'm naming them boys, man. So that's pretty much the most funniest, craziest things I do. With getting fish, always naming them and they turn out.
Oh, we got Bert on the house.
Roberto, what up, G? I sent him a lot of Corys. He loves his Corys, man. Well, he loves his guppies too, and live bears.
Oh yeah. Me and him are on the same thing with the live bears down here.
I bet, man.
I might start a competition with him or something with some live bears. See if he's down.
Oh, look, y'all trying to see who trying to outcompete each other. Look, I'm not in it. I'm
not friendly. Some friendly competition. He got some nice guppies.
Because I'm telling you right now, it's gonna be hard to pick.
We're gonna throw you in that competition too in Aqua.
Dude, guppies perish in my water for some reason. There's certain fish that either perish in my water or I'm not doing it right. Like I can't say that I'm professional. No one can. I mean, you can if you want to. It's a freedom of speech. Mm-hmm. But I'm not gonna sit here and I know everything under the sun. So I'm not gonna sit here and go, I do know if they're dying or not, or because of my water, or I'm not taking care of them. But I know that a lot of people say, oh, they love hard water. Feed them real well, change their water. You got them. Well, not in my case. Mm-hmm. Not sure. I mean, African cichlids love the water up here. Indiana water is super hard. They love it. Mm-hmm. I mean, like that's the corner market up here is African cichlids. Like I'm talking about 20 a pop, and it doesn't matter what age they are, juvenile or not. I'm talking about it's heavy out here. Like I love African cichlids. Don't get me wrong, but like man, like to want to breed them or separate them and sell them and get them in the places. Those, besides convicts, those are the second most returned fish in the hobby because they're so rare. Like the Melachromis is the craziest fish I've ever had when I had the African cichlids. I will never get another Melachromis in my life.
Did you attempt breeding them? Did you ever attempt breeding African?
I never did. So and see, that is another thing I also have funny always happening to me. My female fish are always trying to breed with themselves because they look like males. They're so robust, so beautiful, so bright. They see themselves in the reflection and they're breeding with themselves. So they start laying eggs without a male. And I'm like, what? I don't know what to do here. Do I get a male now? No, they're not gonna like him. Like, you know, they liking themselves. They over here flirting with their own self because I thought my female flower horn was a male, had the KOK and everything, was gorgeous, beautiful, red, blue, green, all this, and then just laid some eggs. I'm like, yo, my females are looking like males, and I'm not understanding.
That's why you're naming them wrong. That's why.
That too.
You got stud females over there.
I'm guessing.
Now, what got you into the polar blues? I mean, that's a new cichlid. You know, we touched about it earlier, and they're beautiful.
The polar blues literally came out of nowhere. When I was walking through the LFS, I was like, I just need to find a fish that a lot of people don't see, don't find, whatever. And I'm walking past the tank and I see these striped things go by, and I'm like, yo, are those a hybrid of a convict? He goes, actually, yeah, they are. And like I said, me and I talk back and forth. And I go, look, listen, yo, they $24.99 each. He goes, get them all, fool. Get the whole tank. And I'm like, there's 3 left. I have a good shot with these fish that 1 boy, girl, 3, they'll breed. Convicts, they're always going to breed. I start researching them. They may be, since they're hybridizing, they may be unfertile. Males may not be fertile, as you know, they may not be able to produce the juice to be able to get the female or she needs, you know, to get those eggs fertilized. So
yeah, like, same thing that happens with flower horns.
Yeah, it could happen with flower horns. You could be sitting here trying to breed them for months, and they just fighting at it because he's not fertile. He's not able to get it going. And I'm sitting here, okay, so I gotta get. I'm at least get 2. I gotta pick the 2 that I think are male and female. So I end up getting them both. I end up getting all 3 of them. I end up going back and getting the 3rd one. And the dude actually said, "Yo, look, let me know what they are like, because I want some." The polar blues caught my eye, and I was like, I love convicts. I want to start getting people into convicts and seeing that sooner or later, people are going to hate the convict so much they're not going to be in the hobby. They're not going to be known or want to be known, and they're going to be washed out. Then you get another little species or another little umbrella where you have the polar blues there. And you're like, oh man, you remember what convicts looked like back in the day? Man, I don't remember what the old school convicts look like. And you pull up a picture, like, whoa, that's what they really look like. And then you think, like, man, these hybrids, and some, like you said, the people who are purists fear hybridizing a fish. In all reality, you might want to think all these fish are not pure. Some fish had to come from some fish, right? Or they had to be let go in a area that we didn't know. Say we don't know that we came to this earth and we didn't know that bass was in the North America. There could have been another fish before the bass, and the bass still happened to be plopped in there, and now they're native. We never know that. There's kids who grow up knowing that Oscars are native in Florida, and they're not, because they've been there so long, and that's what they grew up knowing. That's there. So even hybridizing is not going into that, but it's also being in the ecosystem of them hybridizing as well. There's a new fish, new species. People like them, right? And they love them. But you cannot fight being hybridizing, or if it happens in your tank, it happens. Let it go. See
Yeah.
what it's like. If it doesn't, if you don't like the product, if they're throwing out bump fish, or you don't like the product that they are throwing out, they might come out with some traits that you don't like. Get rid of them. It's on your discretion. But you can't bash people who do love hybrids, and that's what I tend to say to people is to think about your words and reword yourself, that you don't feel like you're bashing someone, but you're also trying to get your point across. Because I love hybrids and I love pure breeds, but I lean towards hybrids more because they're interesting. You can make your own fish. Is that our ultimate goal? Cases. But if we have to do it with two different breeds, it's a no-no. So it's playing a little devil's advocate. When you want to, you take a same breed of a different fish and breed them, but when you want to make your own fish, but with two different, it's a no-no.
Oh yeah.
You know, you gotta let people do that.
Oh yeah. You never know. I mean, crazy apocalypse could happen, and all our rivers and lakes and everything could be ruined, and somebody has freaking convict with something else, and they start bringing that. They start producing actual food, for people, because we can't get it no more because the waters are polluted. So yeah, I mean, a lot of the stuff that we do is very scientific to a point, and I think it's pretty cool. I mean, we could even get deep as to even glowfish. Like, what's your opinion on glowfish? That's they really did some experiments there.
Well, Aqua always put this in a perspective. It's always nice to get a fish. It's always nice to create a fish to get someone in the hobby. But when you're alternating it, or you're trying to put too much into it, where we feel uncomfortable about it, as people who are trying to give that information and get people into the hobby, when we're starting to feel a little bit uncomfortable about it, and we kind of our opinion on it. And it's not that we're like wanting to say that we're disagreeing on it, or that we don't like it, or we never will get them, because I won't. I mean, I'm not going to if I can. We don't want that to be someone to sit there and go, oh, they're actually sitting here injecting them with a jellyfish gene, or this little glow stick, whatever. Because everyone can say what they want to say until they literally sit there and do it. You don't know what they're doing. Okay, you know what I mean? You don't know. So if you actually do it and you know what they're doing, okay, cool. But then I'm not going to want to promote something that may make me feel uncomfortable, knowing how I take care of my fish. I barely want my hands in the thing, because I don't want whatever I had brought in from the outside world. If I have to wash my hands, I'm putting lotions on. If I go on a fish room tour, people want me to put my hands in their tank. No, I don't. I'm good. I've had hand sanitizer on. I haven't peroxide. I haven't washed my hands. No, I'm good. I mean, I'm always germaphobic, so I'm OCD. I want to keep everything clean. I try not to do that. So with me knowing that, and seeing people trying to hold a fish and injecting them and throwing them around, or leaving them in a puddle of water that's about this big, and they're not air breathers like most other fish that can't handle that, and you're stressing them out, and then you're trying to ship them to us, and we're spending $150 to $250. It's kind of like I can get that somewhere else, So the glowfish are cool to put people in it, but not necessarily to teach people to do stuff that they do to get that.
Yeah. To me, I looked at them. We got them one time. We had a tank with them and everything. When it first came out, I did it with my daughter and everything. I was just getting into, back into getting tanks and everything. And then we got rid of them. And then when they did the betas, I was like, oh no, they went too far. Like, I was like, y'all went too far. Like
the beta was.
Yeah, I was like, y'all went too far. Y'all messed up the betas. Like, y'all want to, like.
Well, I think it went too far when they started doing Daniels and Tiger Barbs, my guy. I think it went too far there. Like, if they would have kept it at the the black skirt or the regular skirt tetras or whatever they had, because I don't know
that's
what they
what we
use.
had.
Yeah, like if they would have just done the skirt tetras, I would have been fine. But when they went to Tiger Bars and Danny O's and all those, it's like, okay, I get that there's some like the Danny get cheap fish and you don't care for their life, whatever. But there's groups who don't like that we even have fish in our tanks. But you're sitting here giving us a black eye because you're doing this. So even us not being a part of that, we still are getting hate from people who don't like us having fish in our tank.
The tree huggers get mad, but it's okay.
Yes.
That's why I call them. They're the tree huggers.
Technically, yeah.
Now, does your family enjoy the hobby as much as you do?
Actually, they do and they don't as much as me. I just had a 1-year-old, so not technically just have her, but I did have my first child. She started walking. This is her first time actually walking into my fish room, and she only has seen the 75. So when she walked into a fish room, it's not every day your dad has 20 tanks in a room with lights on like this, and you're a child like.
Yeah, what's that?
So eventually and hopefully I can pass that along to her, because I mean I don't want to say, but I hope hopefully one day she'll be taking care of this, or one, keeping the hobby going, because that's our ultimate goal as adults and as parents, is to keep our kids on path for the future, and as well make sure that our hobbies or whatever we feel and enjoy that make life better in the future, our kids are going to be part of. So it keeps them out of trouble.
Yep.
And hopefully she meets a guy that is this community. That'd be fun, because then I have to worry about him. That's the only thing you got to worry about when you're a dad of a daughter. You're like, who would I rather have a date, a football player or a fish keeper? Money? No money.
Neither one. Baby, go get an education and make your own money.
There you go. Make your own money. Exactly. That's why I said I want you to take over this for me.
Yep. She could get a good education. That's how I got my girls. Get a good education, they can make their own money.
Yeah, and I know your daughter is definitely into it because of how many videos you've done with her, and you started tanks with her. I know you trying to preach to all your knowledge to her. Like, hey, look, listen. So this is how you do this.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it, if she takes it on, is good. If she don't, at least I had those father documents with her, and I was able to document it too, to always be able to look at it back. You know, when they get big, you're gonna be like, where's my little girl at? I'm gonna be there looking on the phone at my own channel, looking at those old videos.
I remember that house. I remember that tank. I remember that little area. That's a little cool little area. Yeah.
It's funny we're talking about it like this because me and Funk last week were talking about how we're the new generation of this hobby and everything, and we're doing things different. Yeah, we're doing things different than the last people, because I got a lot of older people in the clubs I go to, and they used to tell me the ways they used to communicate was with actual newsletters. They used to mail out newsletters to each other from the different clubs. And some of the clubs used to have their own magazines, and then you had like state magazines. And, instead of having like a speaker come in, a lot of time, they publish somebody's article. And some of them still have these magazines and stuff like that. But now we in this hobby, and we're doing the same thing, but on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. We're putting it all there.
Live streaming, we're posting instantly. We're doing stories on like literally, like it's instant. Yeah, you're right. We've done it. Either we've done it to where we try to take it up a level, or some people may say we've done it too much, where we're like we're going away from what the clubs used to do. But you got to change with times, because businesses that don't change with time, eventually what? They crash or don't make it, or they just stay stagnant.
Oh yeah, Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
And I mean, I think the clubs are still needed, you know,
Mhm,
in the local area and everything. I think it's great to have the clubs so you can still do that network with each other face to
right.
face. You know, you do the events and stuff like that. And
Mhm,
but the way that we took it to the next level, doing it this way and everything. I mean, a lot of them have kind of adapted to us, and they're watching us and
mhm,
everything, and they're watching our channels and everything. But two, I feel like we got to make it better for the next generation. For then, we got to see what they're gonna do with it, because a lot of the
that's
stuff
true.
we doing now they didn't do before. You know, I mean, there's still fish out there that they were like, oh, we weren't able to breed that until in the '90s. I'm like, what, in the '90s, early 2000, they figured it out. You know, some shit like that.
Right.
Like, wow, and they still finding
Exactly.
new species.
Hmm.
You know.
And like you said, we are the new generation of it, right? But when I go to
Hmm.
my fish club, and not to say that there's some old heads there or there's some older generation there, but when I look around, I'm the youngest there, and I'm 26, going on 27. There is no way in this world we have this many. Well, some people didn't know. I have a few YouTubers in my fish club. I don't like to drop names. There's a lot of fish tubers in my fish club, but they don't really show up, or they don't really, want to show the young that they're going to be. We got to keep this going. Sooner or later, all
Hmm.
these people have been holding these positions of presidency or our chairs or whatever that they're doing in the book are eventually going to be getting a little bit older and not here. We are getting older. We got to put that
Hmm.
in our. So with us young crowd that has always are doing videos or not doing videos or always watching videos and not in a fish club to learn about this and keep this hobby going, fish club will eventually pass and no longer be relevant.
Hmm.
You gotta make it relevant for people to want to go. And if you have only older generation going, limited people who are younger, you're only gonna end up with 5 people in 5 to 10 years that are young enough. You're like, man, I remember, used to be a bigger crowd of people, but I mean, older. But now it's strictly because no one comes no more.
Yep. Yep.
And I would be more diverse as well, because some focus on live bears or focus on certain shrimps or certain things. Where if you're
Hmm.
not changing at that time, you're not going to be able to survive as well. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of people who love cichlids, so you can't be biased or you can't be more. You can say being biased because there's a lot of people. And if you haven't seen it, you're not looking, or you just don't want to. You're a little bit, but people do have their itch or their niche of where they feel like, no, I'm not a saltwater guy, or no, I'm not a freshwater. They're a little snobby. Okay, so we gotta understand. We gotta put that aside, and we're all fish keepers. But when it comes to actually learning everything, we need to teach people how to bag fish, shipping them, learning how. We can have a station where we show everyone how to bag fish. Because if you're doing a batch, if you're doing any kind of fish auctions or anything, you want your fish, one, to make it to the auction, and two,
Oh
also
yeah.
to look presentable. When you can see in the bag, they're looking good. The air's nice and good. If you're doing air, or if you're catching it in the air, whatever, you want to make your bag look presentable. Or if you're a young cat, you going into the hobby, you know how to you getting stuff done. You go to you in a person of hiring status because you own your own company. You know this gentleman from the local fish club. Since he was 13, he's now 16, 17, looking for a job. You know he's been doing bagging since the time you've been showing him at the LFS or the local fish club or whatever. And then all of a sudden you're like, yo, you want a job, dude? I can trust you with my fish. You can bag stuff. I can teach you how to. They need to teach people how to sign in tanks properly. Like there's certain things that they can teach attention where they're instead of just having a presentation all the time. Because sometimes a presentation of people just talking to you is fine. We learn about fish all the time. But also the basics of people who are still getting into the hobby and learning, getting into that fish world, show that they're also not just about knowledge. They want you to be hands-on, and they get you. But besides the point of what we're going through now, it's harder for us to be more hands-on. But for that, it's also the future.
Yeah, but I've been seeing it even before COVID. The younger generation don't go to the clubs to go get the knowledge because they do stuff like what we doing right now. So like you go to the club, it's like I could have Googled that. You know what I mean? If I really wanted to know that, I could have researched that. Or I could have been like, oh yeah, Rob does convicts. Let me go watch his videos and I'll learn about convicts. Why do I need to go to a club to learn about convicts? You know? So like you gotta have more activities, swap meets, conventions, stuff like that.
Thank you.
That's gonna get you to go. Yeah, to get them intrigued. You gotta hook them a different way now. Because if I'm gonna go to the club, sit for an hour there, I could have researched it in about 30 minutes at home, eating a plate of dinner while Avengers are playing on real quick and my kids around me. You know what I mean? And I'm chilling. So like the way we doing it, you know, it's different. And you know, we're putting all that information because all you gotta do is search it and you're gonna find more than one person has done it.
Exactly.
You know, there's nothing that new right now, you know, in the hobby like that. So like, okay, if I want to learn angelfish, search angelfish. You know how many people bred angelfish and made a video of them? You know what I mean? There's tons of them. So going to the club is tough to do that, you know. So yeah, we gotta find more innovative ways to get the younger generation to come.
How to ship fish. We can have an Olympic event where you're siphoning a tank over here and you gotta tag your teammate over here. They gotta roll up a water hose and then they gotta run over here and then you gotta get them so into it, like you said, just to get them there. Stuff like that. I would be there. Come on now, I'm competitive, and you're doing fish knowledge too, and we're talking about fish the whole entire time. Like, come on, man.
Now, you like you said, you only been in this for 4 years, but that's you've been learning a lot while doing this. What one piece of advice would you give anybody that decides to start this hobby right now?
That wants to start this hobby right now.
Yep. What one piece of advice you could give them?
The best advice I can give is balance is the key for everything when it comes to keeping fish, your family, and your personal insanity. Okay, because sometimes you will feel like a lot may happen depending on how many tanks you have. Now that is in a sense, but when you have over 20 plus tanks or whatever, when a fish dies or something just catastrophic happens or something that you've been waiting for doesn't work, you gotta be able to rely on your family to keep focused on what your hobby is because you got into it for a reason because you love it. Yep. So you gotta, something that you always know and will love is your family. You can't have quit something that you love because of something catastrophic happens. So you have to have that balance where you know you can fall back on something that will love you and always love you, or something that may not love you today or tomorrow because the heater might go out overnight and you know your whole entire fish room freezes, or your air pump hose blows out and you wake up and your whole entire air system is gone. That balance of that, you know, that you have someone behind you that's gonna love you regardless of the thing that's gonna happen, because it will. To know that. Real talk.
Real talk. Right? Now, how can we find you on IG, Facebook?
Everything is the same. I don't have a Facebook, but I do have an IG, Rob 93 Aquatics, just like the YouTube. I want to make it simple for everybody, and that's how it is. Rob 93 Aquatics.
Heck yeah, man. It's been a real big pleasure. Now, I want to set something up. I got to get you and Uncle both on here one day.
You don't want us cutting
'Cause
up on here, man. You don't want us both up here now. You don't want us both up here, man.
Aqua's good people, man. He been following me from almost the beginning, I think, and everything.
Oh yeah,
And
he has. He's always saying, "Hey, bro, you gotta." He's taking a little bit, but when he gets back, bro, tell him, let me know, send him over there. I've always been there, bro. So yeah, like you said, since day one, when he introduced me to everybody, I've always followed them because he knows everyone that I don't. He knows a lot more people I do. He'll be like, "Hey, so and so said to hit them up." I'll be like, "All right, I don't know their number." He'll be like, "I got it," and he'll send it. I'm like, bro, really? Like, okay, cool. So you don't want your channel might get cut down if you have, and it's not me, it's him.
He did good last week, man. He did good last week. That's my dude right
there. I wasn't able to get there. I was catching them Z's, bro. I was catching them Z's, man. I had the baby, and man, she was. I thought fish keeping was hard. Having a child is hard.
Hey, it's a beautiful blessing to me. That's been a beautiful blessing. My buddy Zach, he's day one, buddy. Man, I got a good friend of mine out here. He doesn't do videos or nothing, but I met him through the club and everything. And he does big fish, bro. He got arowanas and I think he got like 3 or 4 arowanas in a big old pool in his backyard. And I think some Oscars, turtles. You know, he does rescues and he be getting these big, beautiful. Oh, he got freshwater tarpon, bro. Like that big old freshwater tarpon in the tank and everything. That's what he does. He does monster fish. And it's funny because me and him, we still click about the hobby. But he got to eat up my guppies. You know what I mean?
You're like, man, I wish I had a pond like this.
What? He got such a huge pool, bro. But it's pretty cool, bro. It's pretty cool.
And see, that's the number one thing as well for us fish keepers in the Midwest. We are more jealous than everyone down there in the South because y'all have so much good weather. I guarantee you, that's the number one thing all of us Midwest people hate about y'all. Y'all have nice weather. That's it. Y'all have fish all year round. You got colors all over here. You can buy this, you can buy that. And we're like, we got goldfish. Like, that's it. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, a lot of people get live bears from down here for up there.
I bet, man. I bet. I know Lucky, when he went to that one live bear association down there, I forgot which one it was. Man, guys, he was showing some footage. I was like, I would never get that up here, bro. Never would get that up here. Like, man, you don't see stuff like that. I'm like, you see that overseas. What is that?
Oh yeah.
That's some crazy stuff.
We could ship into Florida pretty easy. You know what I mean? As long as you got all your stuff right, you could ship into Florida pretty. It's like California and Florida, you could ship, very easy. California has a little bit better than us because they're closer to Asia. But
right now, have you imported fish before as well?
No, I haven't.
Okay, because I didn't know if you ever had before.
No, I haven't. I almost did it one time. I was thinking about it and everything, but I looked at it. I didn't want to deal with the losses that you get.
That's
bringing that many fish in.
That's what I was thinking. And I didn't know if you would have to have special permits and stuff too.
Yeah, you got to have your permits, but as soon as you get all your permits and everything, bro, there's so many people out there.
Yeah, you just gotta pay the money. That's it.
Yep. But it comes in. Go to the airport, pick it up. It's no hassle, nothing. Really? So from what I understand, it's pretty. But I just don't want to deal with the headache, the losses, the whole treatment. Because I mean, you gotta quarantine them bad boys. Like people think you could just bring in fish, because people do it all the time. But a lot of them get out that game really fast because you bring them in, they don't medicate them or they don't medicate them long enough or enough medicine. You know, there's so many things there that could go wrong. And then they start selling fish to stores and to other people and everybody spreading diseases. The fish COVID could happen, you know?
And see, it's funny how people didn't know what the word quarantine means till now. And we've been knowing what quarantine means since day one because of what we do fish keeping. We know anything that comes in this room or in our fish tank ain't touching our main display tank until you have went through a process. Or because I know Aqua, he goes, oh, if it's 2 weeks, it's good. I'm like, oh my God. Aqua's just something else, bro. He's just something else. I swear, sometimes if my eyes good, I know they're reputable. And he's good. He's always good. He always knows his fish. That's the whole thing. He knows his fish. He knows his reputable source. But some people do 6 to 8 weeks of quarantine. So yeah, you're right, bro. The fish COVID, because you literally have to quarantine anything and everything, even if it comes from someone you know.
Oh yeah.
And
I mean, if it was not enough in your fish room, I mean that's proper procedure. If it didn't come from your fish room, you know, you better know that source. And he knows his source. He knows how long he got to quarantine. And that's the great thing about this, because 2 different people could do the same thing and get different results in this hobby. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Just because, like if you do that with your store for 2 weeks and then you think it's cool and you mix those fish with some other fish and then boom, you could get some type of parasite spread because, you know, you didn't know, but for him, it won't happen. You know what I mean? So like 2 different people could do the same thing, get different result and everything. And it's been an hour, and I don't want to keep everybody here longer than an hour and stuff because I really appreciate them joining us for the live stream. But real quick, before we go, the last question, the question I asked everybody, one piece of advice you could give anybody to everybody in the world, doesn't matter what it is. Or what is it about?
Your family and always love your fish, man. Always love your family and always love your fish.
Always love your family, always love your fish. Well, man, it's been a pleasure, Rob, having you here. Thanks, everybody, for joining us, and everybody have a blessed night.
Appreciate it, man.